So, as you're marching into battle, you're going to be carrying your gun in this position. This is known as shoulder arms. So as you're marching into the battlefield, you're tired and exhausted from all this marching, 20 miles a day for 3 days. Did you know that some boys actually died before they got to the battle? In fact, 1/4 of all the men from the 2nd Vermont Volunteer Infantry, they died just walking to the battlefield. Now, it wasn't just a simple walk. They weren't ready for it. Even though they worked on a farm and there's lots of exercise that they've had, this is not the kind of exercise they're used to, especially when they're not drinking enough water or they drank it too quickly. If you drink it too quickly, you don't have any water when you need it, and you can get dizzy and just pass out because you're dehydrated. So as you're marching into battle, it was very important to keep hydrated. So let's say you're marching into battle and then you feel dizzy and you pass out. You might hit your head on a rock. You might fall aside. Is the entire army gonna stop and say, "Fred, are you okay, buddy?" Of course not. They're just gonna keep moving and say, well, he'll wake up and eventually catch up, or somebody will pick him up. Well, what if nobody does for 2 days, 3 days? You could be laying out there dead. Imagine it being at home. Your mom gets the letter from the army. It's not in your brother's handwriting, but it's about your brother. She's crying. Oh my gosh, your brother's dead. Mom, don't cry, please. Oh God, please don't cry. But wait, Mom, I'm sorry. Oh gosh, he was the best brother in the whole wide world. But wait, was he a hero though? Did he shoot the enemy? Did he stab him? What happened, Mom? Tell me. No, he died walking. Now that doesn't sound very heroic, does it? In fact, some of you might have laughed. But I tell you, it's a serious situation for these men. And as the war went on, they got a lot more experience, and that experience would save their lives. So we're walking with our guns, marching into battle. And as we're marching into battle, we finally hear the gunfire. Cannon, artillery, we see smoke, and the closer we get, we hear bugles. And we hear yelling and screaming, and then we see people flying through the air from a cannon blast, or we see people falling down, blood spraying on neighbors' heads, and smoke everywhere, and it just, oh my gosh, it's terrifying. Now you have to get ready to load and shoot yourself, but you're exhausted. You just got to this battlefield. Load! Step 1 in the loading cycle. There are 9 steps, as I mentioned, and in these 9 steps, you have to get them right. The first one is step 1. Move the musket into the front of the body. Don't look down the barrel. That's the dangerous end. 2, reach into your cartridge box. Inside this cartridge box are your cartridges. Now inside here, you've got a bullet, and there's powder behind the bullet. Here's a photo of what that looks like. Now, in this cartridge is everything that you need. This cartridge, though, wasn't made by the soldiers. This was made by women and children as young as 10 and really, really old grandpas who couldn't fight because they were too old, but they wanted to do something. So, Grandpa, could you just make me some bullets? Okay. And so they made some bullets. So this cartridge is made of paper to hold everything together so it's quick and easy to load. Now, quick and easy, well, I got one hand on the gun, one hand on the cartridge. How do I tear this open? Well, you used your teeth. In fact, if you didn't have teeth on top and bottom that touched in front, you couldn't tear the cartridge open. They wouldn't let you be in the infantry. Now you're probably thinking, that's a great idea. Well, if I didn't want to be in war, and some soldiers and some men didn't want to be in war because they were going to get drafted, which means they're going to be forced to be in war. Well, they just thought, well, if I don't have teeth in front, I can't shoot the gun. They won't let me in the army. And they knocked out their own front teeth. Hey, you made Mom a real pretty smile now. Well, you don't need teeth to shoot a cannon, son, so congratulations, you're in the artillery. Oh, you mean I got, oh. So they didn't get out of it as easily as they thought. So, we tear the cartridge open with our teeth and we spit that at our enemy. By the way, you are not the enemy. Now inside here, we pour the powder. And then after we let the powder drop, we squeeze the bullet out into the top of the barrel. And then we draw the rammer. Now what are we gonna do now? We're gonna push that bullet all the way down, ramming the cartridge all the way down to the bottom. If you do not push the cartridge all the way down to the bottom, you are holding a pipe bomb. And when the gun goes off, It could take half of your face with it, and that ruins your day. Now, after that, we have to return the rammer. Now, I know what you're thinking. What if I just left this in here? Giant metal arrow flying through the air at 900 feet per second. One guy gets hit. Another guy standing right behind him. 2 for 1. Shish kebab. Yeah! But there's a problem. And it's an awkward problem. The problem is you have to go get this back. So it's awkward walking across the battlefield saying, time out, time out, time out, time out. Can I have this back? I'm sorry, but you gotta admit it was really cool. Sorry, that's not gonna happen. Because 1, you're gonna get shot, and then your friends are gonna laugh. Or 2, your friends are gonna laugh and then you're gonna get shot. Either way, it's not good, so you don't wanna lose the ramrod. In fact, this was such an important piece that if you lost this, either in training or in battle, they would take a whole dollar out of your paycheck, and you know what that dollar's worth. So we have to return the rammer. Now we're still not done loading because we have to get flame from outside to the inside where the powder is. So we go to the position of prime. Now on the back of the gun, you can see there's a little tube here. That little tube is called a cone. That cone holds a cap from your cap box. What this cap is it's a percussion cap, and inside is a percussive chemical compound called fulminate of mercury. Fulminate of mercury, when you strike it like a drum, it goes boom. The only difference is this boom sends flame through the tube into the barrel where the powder is, and it burns the powder, shoots the bullet. That's how this gun works. So after you put that on there, you are ready to fire. Now I put my gun back up to my shoulder to let my captain know I'm ready to fire. Not everyone can just fire whenever they want. They have to get instructions from their captain. So the captain would then see everyone's gun is loaded. He would give them the order to make ready, aim, fire. Now you heard the blast. I hope you saw the smoke. All that smoke creates, if there's no wind to blow it away, it creates this fog that hangs over the battlefield. Well, I gotta tell you that fog, if it's just one gun, it makes a lot. But if it's, well, 500 to 1,000 guns going off, that's a lot of smoke on the battlefield. You may not be able to see the enemy for a time. They may not be able to see you. Does that mean you stop shooting? No, sir. You keep loading and shooting until you're told to do otherwise, because those bullets will go through the fog. Now, they're in long lines, aiming and firing all at the same time. What's dangerous about this? You're probably thinking, well, they're just sitting targets. They're gonna get shot. Well, you could get shot. It's even more dangerous, though, to run out in the middle of that foggy, smoky nastiness and get shot by your own friends. And that could happen. Come on, guys, let's take them! Ah! And you run out into the battlefield, and as you run out into the battlefield, guess what happens? They can't see you anymore. Your enemy can't see you. Everyone's still shooting. You're in the middle. What's gonna happen to you? You're gonna get shot. Now, if you get shot in the back by your friends, it's called friendly fire. But I guarantee you it is not friendly because you're still dead. So it's for safety that they fought in these long lines and they were firing these guns. Now, why would they do this? Another reason is the older guns, like this one, this 1842 Springfield, they're smooth bore, which means the inside, nothing special going on. It doesn't have anything going on, no rifling, no twists that are carved into the barrel. So when the bullet comes out, it just kind of rattles out and goes wherever. You could be aiming one-on-one, mano-y-mano, you and me, buddy, you're going down. And then you aim, and then you fire, and the bullet misses. Well, that sucked. Oh, it's his turn. And then he shoots. You missed too. Well, this could happen all day long if it's just one-on-one at say 100 yards. That's why during the old days, the Revolution, the War of 1812, the Mexican-American War, they all fought really close to each other in these long lines. Now, during the Civil War, I mentioned new weapons were being brought in. It's not a new technology, but these weapons have technology that everyone has now, and that's rifling in the muskets. And the bullet is also different. The bullet has a football shape to it, instead of being a simple round lead ball. If you can see this closely, you'll see that this bullet has a football shape. This is called a mini ball. And this is all very soft, one solid piece of lead. Now you load this in there, and it's gonna spiral because the grooves in the barrel are twisting that bullet as it leaves, and it has that aerodynamic tip so that it can cut through the air a lot faster. So you have a gun that's a lot more accurate. Instead of wondering, am I gonna hit that soldier or the ground or that bird in the sky? Cool, 10 points. Now you're with a new musket, you're looking at the soldier and you're seeing the buttons on his shirt and you're saying, which one am I gonna shoot? You might hit it or you'll be very close. So at 100 yards, with the new guns, it's murder. At 200 yards, well, it's still kind of murderous. At 300 yards, it's like manslaughter, and that's why these men would start backing up to 400, 500, 600 yards sometimes, shooting at each other. Now in warfare previously, Mexican-American War, 1812, Revolution, they're fighting at 50 yards sometimes. At 50 yards, you can see a booger hanging from somebody's nose, you know the color of their eyes, and you know how scared they are because you can see it on their face. At 600 yards, though, you can barely see what color their eyes are. You can't barely see their eyes. You just see a white face or a black face or whatever face you got. Well, it's a very different situation. So they did it for safety. By the end of the Civil War, the Southerners are digging into the ground, making trenches because they don't want to get shot. They don't have replacements coming in like the North did with all the immigrants coming to the country. So you see, warfare is very deadly, very nasty, but the way they fought it was, well, it was tradition. It was the way everyone knew how to fight it. And it took them a while to figure out you can't do this anymore. You can't just stand out in the open because these guns are way too accurate and way too many people are getting hit. So if you're out in the battlefield and you're loading and aiming and firing your gun, what are you gonna keep doing until you get shot? The same thing. You just have to know that it's in God's hands. There's no way you're going to know what's going to happen to you. So the best thing to do is just keep doing your job. And besides, some men were probably pretty scared and they wanted to run. But think about it. You're standing next to everyone from your hometown. Everyone who can tell your girlfriend back home that you were a coward and ran away. And they stayed there and fought. Your mother would be disappointed. Your father would be discouraged. You don't want to do that, so I guess I'll just stand here, and if I die, I die, a hero. Wow, what a way to think about things. But that's how they did. So as you're loading and firing, maybe somewhere out of nowhere, well, actually out of a rebel musket, a bullet hits you in the arm. And you can't pick up your gun, and you can't shoot, and you're bleeding, and it hurts. Owie. Now what do?